So, I kind of want to go back, right? Like you are in your own right when you start talking about draft coverage and cowboy content. You have taken on kind of this role and is kind of wearing the crown of kind of one of the local draft experts. And you may not say, "Oh, I'm not a draft expert," but you've gotten but you've gotten a chance to really dive in. I want you to kind of just take me through one. What was it? Because I love football. I'm into football. It has changed my life. It's a part of my life. I want no parts of draft. Like I'm just like, I'm good. Like I'm
my favorite part.
I'm good. Give me the roster fully built. I'll break anything you want down. And
don't even ask me about the backups.
I don't care about but you have found this place and this love for scouting, this place and this love for drafting. Like, kind of give us a rundown of where that came from, who helped you in that, how did it start, and just all of it.
I think the interest is probably, God, thinking back, I might have liked college football before I liked NFL football. I was born and spent my first 10 years in St. Louis, and I'm trying to think, were the Rams even there? And if they were, they obviously weren't good. Because as a very young kid, I was a 49er fan because they were good. I was born in 1984. So when I cared about sports, probably started in 1988, 89. Yeah. Joe Montana was playing, and then Steve Young was playing. I moved to Dallas in 1994, and the Cowboys still had another Super Bowl to win, and I didn't celebrate it because I hadn't adopted them yet. I was a 49er fan. So I don't have a Cowboys Super Bowl either. I have 0. But I've always liked college football. My favorite college football player of all time, if it's not Peter Warrick, we share Peter Warrick.
We do.
It's Tommy Frazier. And that was I think 95 Nebraska. So I've loved college football since I was 10, 11 years old, something like that. And I love the team building part of sports. I think it's fascinating and awesome. I love trying to guess the future because that's what the draft is.
Yeah.
Is you're trying to project and see where you disagree with other people who do the same thing and see which guys you like more and less. And I've also found it's one of the easiest topics to talk about if you have multiple people who have watched the players. You could do a 12-hour draft show, and it's nothing.
Right.
It's nothing. Because you could accidentally spend 45 minutes on a guy.
Right.
And it's always been something that I really, really liked. And as a young radio man, if you ever want to get into radio, don't.
Don't.
Your name has to be on the show. If you think that you're going to make a living in radio, our show name is a group name, but I do qualify. But just think about it. I live in DFW. How many host jobs in radio are there total if you want to do talk radio? I don't know, 40? Good luck. Which means you're going to spend a lot of time making $10 an hour doing all the other crap and never really go anywhere and then decide, do I love this so much that I will keep being a part-time person making $10 an hour, 20 hours a week, or am I going to go do something else? And I got lucky. So I guess I shouldn't say don't.
Or you get fired. Or
you get fired.
You get fired.
I made it through, so it happens. And I don't know why it was me, honestly. Back then I would have pretended that I was entitled to it in some way. But now it's I don't know. But sweet. And I met people who, even though I was making $10 an hour and I didn't have a radio show, I worked at a radio station and I answered phones and I learned to hit the buttons. And so part of that became, we're going to teach you not real engineering, but half-ass engineering, which meant that every day that Jason Garrett had a press conference out at Valley Ranch, I sat in the corner at a little table with this little board. And when the reporter is asking a question, there's a mic that's pointed at the crowd, and I turn their mic up. And I would turn down the mic that was up at the podium where Coach was so that you could hear the question. And then when the question finished, I'd pull them down and push Coach up. But I was out there for every press conference. And there were a few people in DFW media that were really cool to me, even though I was nobody. I was nothing. I was a dude sitting in the corner. But the people who would stand out, Christy Scales was great to me.
Love Christy.
The retired Steve Dennis was great to me.
Steve Dennis.
Formerly of CBS 11, which if you just see him online or see the way he broadcast, you'd assume he'd be a jerk to everyone.
Yeah.
He was great to me. Babe Laufenberg was great to me.
Babe, yep.
And then Bryan Broaddus was great to me. He's a former Cowboy scout, and he was kind of like, I don't remember how it came up, but he was like, oh, you really like the draft. You want to do it right? I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he let me and Kevin Turner, my buddy KT, he snuck us into Valley Ranch 5 nights a week for 3 or 4 hours after working our job during the day. And he had what are called cut-ups from the team, the Cowboys, from their scouting department. And boy, that makes scouting so much faster. So much faster. Because now what I have to do is get the all 22 of a game, which I can still get from people. I got people. And I can watch the game, and you'll see a play from the way up here view, and then they'll go behind the line. You'll see the play from that view, and then you go on. Boy, if you have a team's cut-ups, you can select a player, and you can say if it's a receiver or if it's a corner, give me every play where they throw at him. Done. We've eliminated every play where he's not targeted.
Right.
Give me every play for this wide receiver from his longest completions to his shortest. Give me every touchdown. Give me every incompletion. Give me every. You can do whatever you want. It's amazing. And I played football through high school and until I flunked out of college. So, like, I know the game enough. And then you work with a guy who's a former scout, and you kind of learn how to watch other positions and what you're looking for and all that. And I don't know, I just always thought it was a lot of fun.
And the grading system, right? Because you have to grade these players and stuff like that. Like, how does the grading system work?
The word is subjective. Because, I mean, there are people out there who use a number scale. Like, there are people out there who think they've fine-tuned a position so much that they're like, okay, this is 40% of his grade, this is 50%, this is 10%, and I'm going to give him a number 1 through 10 at each thing. And mine is more based on, and I have seen some NFL teams, ways that they do it, and mine's the same kind of thing, where you're really grouping guys by a first-round pick is a guy that when I pick him, he's an NFL starter. He's starting. And then a second or third rounder is a guy that when I pick him, my grade is saying that dude's an NFL contributor tomorrow and will be a starter. So, like, that's my third linebacker. That's my fourth corner. And then the other, once you get down to fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, you're kind of fine-tuning between this guy's a backup, he'll play special teams. I really like this trait. You could develop him because, like, he's a bad defensive end. He is not good at football, but, boy, he runs a fast 10-yard split. He's strong. He's got long arms. Yeah. I could turn that into something, maybe.